Good morning, grade 9s, and welcome to a video solely set out to look at a summary about all the types of equations that you can get in grade 9. So I've taken our textbook and I've summed up the whole chapter of equations and all the types that you can get, and we're going to run through it during this video. All right, so all the headings are the types that you can get. So the first one is solving equations using the distributive property. Then you also get solving equations with fractions, which I know you all love fractions. And then equations involving the product of factors. And that leads us into the final one where we solve equations using factorization. All right, and those are all the types that we're going to run through. So a little bit of an add-on from last year, mainly because we started factorization this year. So that's why I always say factorization comes back and it bites you all year round. So please just make sure that you understand the factorization part. All right, so solving equations using the distributive property, very important. We do not like brackets. We want to get rid of our brackets. So what do we need to do? We need to distribute. So remember, there's two ways of getting rid of brackets. If the bracket is in front of a sum, you can just drop it because there's nothing really to distribute in there. And the second part that you mainly deal with is how to drop a bracket is to distribute whatever is in front with the sign into that bracket. Okay, so just a quick reminder of that. So please do not put equal signs. That is incorrect. If you really want to put something, you say is thus. So x squared minus x times x is x squared plus 2x is equal to 4. Luckily, those two cancel out. It becomes 0. And then you've got 2x is 4. What is happening to the x? It's being times with 2, so you do the opposite and you divide by 2, and your answer is 2. Now people, you can very quickly go and check your answer when you do your test. If you've got time left, just go and plot 2 back in there and see whether it does give you that 4 on the other side. So 2 squared is 4 minus, I can finish this. 2 minus 2 is 0, and 2 times 0 is 0. Yes, 4 minus 0 does give you that 4. So your left hand is equal to your right hand. Okay, just quick to check, and then you can somehow know that you got it right. All right, over here where we need to get rid of our brackets. So please, lots of you say x squared plus 16. You forget that middle term. So please remember, you double up. So you first have to expand x plus 4 times x plus 4, and that equals to x minus 3 twice x minus 3. All right, and now we're going to FOIL out those brackets. X times x is x squared plus x times 4 is 4x plus 4x plus 16. And that is equal to x times x, which is x squared, minus 3x, minus 3x. And very important, a negative 3 times a negative 3 is a positive 9. Okay, let's just get another color here. So if you've got x squared and x squared on each side, you can just cancel it out. The proper way of actually doing it is you subtract x squared on each side. So if you want to take it over as well, it would become a minus x squared, which will then x squared minus x squared falls away. So I'm just going to simplify each side. 4x plus 4x is 8x plus 16 is equal to minus 3 minus another 3 is minus 6x plus 9. Then we're going to take that over. It becomes a plus 6x, which gives you 14x is equal to 9. 9 minus 16, and it's negative 7. Then you're going to ask yourself, what's happening to x? It's being multiplied with 14. So you're going to do the inverse of multiplying. You're going to divide with 14. Thus, x is -2. All right. Because a negative divided by a positive is a negative. And 7 over 14 is 2. All right. Now, this one is very, very important. We did this one in class, and I checked how many students could do it the right way. So can you see the first part? You can just go ahead and drop your brackets. Why? Because it's in the beginning of a sum. But this naughty negative, he's knocking, knock, 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 to come into the 3x minus 2. But this 3x minus 2 first has to be simplified. You need to, I always say, you have to clean up your house. Clean up your house inside. And only once everything is cleaned up, simplified, then you distribute the negative into the bracket. So please, this order of operation here is very, very important. Let's start with the first one. 3x times 3x is 9x squared, plus 3 times 4 is 12x, minus 12x, which will then fall away, and a negative times a positive is a negative. 4 times 4 is 16, minus, I'm going to do it in another color. They need to wait. You need to keep your brackets, because why? The only time you're allowed to drop your brackets is when you distribute whatever's in front into the bracket, aka this negative over there. He's waiting. Okay, but you just have to say, you just have to wait up a little bit longer because I need to clean up house. So it's 3x minus 2, 3x minus 2 expanded. Then it's 9x squared. This plus and minus, some falls away. So I'm just going to take it away. So simplifying already. Minus, keep your bracket. Then 3x times 3x is 9x squared. Minus 3 times 2 is 6x. Oopsie, sorry. And negative times 2 times 3 is negative 6x. And a plus 4. Close bracket equals 0. Now, very, very important. Only now, once you distribute this naughty negative inside there, you are allowed to drop your brackets. Okay, so we've got 9x squared minus 16 minus 9x squared plus 6x plus 6x. And the last one, minus 4. So can you see, if you didn't do that, your signs would be a geboggerop. Okay, so 9x squared minus 9x squared gives you 0. So 9 bananas minus 9 bananas. Now there's no more bananas. Then the negative 16 gets left over here. Sorry. And then plus 6x I can simplify as plus 12x. Minus 4 is equal to 0. And then bringing x alone, it will give me a positive 16 plus 4. Sorry. Which gives you a positive 4 plus 16 is 20 divided by 12 divided by 12. Thus, x is equal to, and I just want to make sure that I didn't make a mistake. Oh no, it was 5 over 3. All right, simplified. So a hectic one, but you just need to make sure that you follow. And this naughty negative is not allowed to go in unless your house is clean on the other side. Okay. All right, let's look at solving equations with fractions. Now we need to get, whenever you are forced with a little fraction thrown in your face, you need to make everything a fraction. So you force everything into a fraction so that you can find an LCD. Okay, the lowest common denominator. So if I've got a 2 and a 5 and a 1, I'm going to have to see which number can I use so that I can always multiply to get to it, but I mustn't divide. And when I multiply, I must get the number exactly with whole numbers, okay, or integers. No, whole numbers, sorry, because it won't be a negative. So can you see that your LCD, would be 10? Okay, because you normally take the biggest number, and a 5, can 2 go into 5? No. Okay, so then you take the biggest one and you multiply it by 2. And then if you see, okay, it gives me 10. Can 2 go into 10? Yes, 5 goes into 10 and 1 goes into 10. So 10 is your lowest common denominator. So you always take the biggest number, and then if the other numbers can't go into him, then you multiply it by 2. And if by 2 doesn't work, then you multiply it by 3. Okay. Now, then let's start. We're going to have an LCD of 10. So we want to make each and every fraction over 10. Okay. So how did I get from 2 to 10? I've multiplied it with 5. What I do at the bottom, I have to do on top. So I've got 5 times x is 5x. What did I do to the 5 to get to 10? I times it with 2. What I do at the bottom, I have to do on top. So 2 times x is 2x. What did I do to 1 to get to 10? I times it by 10. What I do at the bottom, I have to do on top. So that when you simplify, can you see 30 over 10 does give me 3. So I didn't change my values at all. And now, people, only with an equation. Only with an equation. When you've got all your fractions over 10, you're going to drop it like it's hot. And then the top parts are equal to each other. So 5x is equal to 2x plus 30. That's not too bad. And then I'm just going to solve for x from there. 5x minus 2x is 3x is equal to 30. Divide by 3 on each side and you get x is 10. So let's look at this one. Again, if you are forced with fractions, you make everything a fraction, and then you take the highest number and you say, can 2 go into 3, 1 go into 3, so 2 can't go into 3. Take 3, double it up. What do I get? I get 6. Can 2 go into 6? Yes, 3 goes into 6 and 1 goes into 6. So I'm going to change my LCD to be over 6. Okay, please just remember to keep your work as neat and tidy as possible. Okay, how did I get the 2? Oopsie, sorry, I rather want a strong color. How did I get the 2 to a 6? I times it with 3. What I do at the bottom, I have to do on top. So now because there's 2 terms, the 3 has to be multiplied with the x and the 3 over there. That's why it's best to put a 3 and then in brackets. Then very important, this minus. So I'm going to times the 3 by 2. What I do at the bottom, I have to do on top. Now, very, very important. That negative is going to form part of your 2. So you have to distribute a negative 2 into the bracket x minus 2. And the last one, times it by 6. What I do at the bottom, I have to do on top. And there we go. Lots of times when I mark things, people, they change the LCD to 6, but then they don't change the top. Okay, so please remember, you can't just change the bottom because then you're changing the value of the equation. All right. Then I'm going to distribute that 3, and I'm left with 3x plus 3 times 3 is 9. Then the negative 2, I just want to show you, once it comes off, it's going to look like that. Minus 2 times x minus 2. Okay, so then I'm going to do it. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and a negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 2 is 4. 6x minus 12. All right, simplify each side. 3x minus 2x is x. 9 plus 4 is plus 13. That side, there's nothing else to be simplified. And then I can start getting all your like terms together. 6x minus x, I'm going to take it to this side. And 13 plus 12 is 25. Thus, divide by 5 on each side. And x is 5. Beautiful number. Okay, can you go test it? Yes, let's go. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Minus 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Minus 1. So the left hand side gives me 3. And the right hand side If x was 5, 5 minus 2 also gives me 3 on that side. So just a quick check to see whether you got it right is always good. Okay, all right, over here you take the biggest, and it's a 5, the biggest number, you times it by 2, 10, no, 3 can't go into 10, 15, times it by 3, and my LCD is going to be 15. All right, so what I do at the bottom, I have to do on top. 5 times 3 is 15. What I do there, I have to do on top. And what you do is you just take the front number and you times it with 3, which gives you 6. And now instead of 2 going into that bracket, it's going to be a 6 that gets distributed in. All right, over here you times it by by 5, and what I do at the bottom I have to do on top. Again, be vigilant of that naughty negative there, that what needs to be distributed is a negative 5. And over here, oopsie, now why did I choose 15? Oh, sorry, let me start again. Right, with this one, take the biggest one, 5, 3 can't go into 5, 2 can't go into 5, double up 5. What about 10? No, 3 can't go into 10. What about 15? No, 2 can't go into 15. Add another 5. 20. 3 can't go into 20. 25. No, 2 can't go into 25. So 30 is my number. All right. So just how you would get the LCDs, take the biggest one and always add another one of those together. Okay, so we're going to make our LCD 30. Like so. Then we're going to say we need to times this by 6. 6 times 5 is 30. And what you do at the bottom, you have to do on top. Now, if there's a number already in front of the brackets, you're just going to times that number by 6. So 12 is going to go into x plus 3 and no longer just the 2. Then over here, I times it by 10. Please be vigilant of this naughty negative over there. So 10 is going to go into x plus 7, and here times it by 15. And 15 times 3x minus 8. Okay, so I just need to get my calculator at hand. I see I'm going to have big numbers or bigger numbers left, yeah? Okay, let's drop it like it's hot. And then what is left? If you distribute 12x plus 36 minus 10x and a negative times a negative 10 times a positive 7 gives you a negative 70. And 15 times 3x is 45x minus, and then 15 times 8 is 120. Bring all your x's, simplify the left-hand side, simplify the right-hand side. 12x minus 10x is 2x. And 36 minus 70 gives you negative 34. And that side, there's nothing really to simplify with. Okay, 45x, if you bring it over, it's going to be a minus 2x, so it's 43x. And over here, minus 34 plus 120 gives you 86. Oh, thank goodness it works out nicely. 86 divided by 43 gives you 2. Thus, x is 2. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Can you go test it? Yes, you can. If you put a 2 in here, 2 plus 3 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Minus, if x is 2, 2 plus 7 is 9. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So the left-hand side gives me negative 1. Let's see if the right-hand side also gives me negative 1. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 minus 8. 6 minus 8 gives you negative 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 gives you negative 1. Aha, thank goodness. Left-hand side equals right-hand side. All right, so before we get to using factorization with equations, I just want to make sure that you understand what to do when you've got two brackets that are equal to 0. So the equations involving the product of factors, aka the zero product principle. Okay, so you don't have to know all these fancy words. It's just to explain to you what to do. So very, very important. If you get two brackets is equal to 0, then we're going to take each bracket separately, and let me just write a bit neater. So x minus 2, and you're going to equal that to 0, or x plus 4 is equal to 0. So now we are actually going to get two answers for x that will satisfy, they talk like that will satisfy this equation, that will make this equation true. Okay, so then you're just going to solve for x from there. You take and you add 2 on each side. So x is equal to 2, or x is equal to negative 4. Same with this. All right, so it's not too bad. Hey, so 2x minus 3 is equal to 0, or 4x plus 5 is equal to 0. Okay, add 3 here on this side, both sides, and you'll be left with that. Yeah, I'm going to subtract 5 on each side, which gives me that. Then you're going to divide by 2 to get x alone. And what you do on the one side, you have to do on the other side. And over here, divide by 4 to get x alone. What you do on the one side, you have to do on the other side. So x is either negative 5 over 4, or x is 3 over 2. Okay, just please take notes. I don't know if you've ever been told this. That negative can stand anywhere. Okay, it can stand, let's take that away. It can stand at the top with the 5. It can stand at the bottom. There goes our school bell. At the 4. Or it can stand in the front of the fraction. Okay, so please don't stress about where to put that negative. Okay, number C, although we've got two answers, they're actually going to be the same. So x minus 4 times x minus 4, you can expand it like that. And then you're going to say x minus 4 is equal to 0, or x minus 4 is equal to 0. So you make both brackets equal to 0. So x is either 4 or x is 4. All right, and when you've got 3x times 6x minus 8 is equal to 0 as well, even though this isn't in a bracket, you can see it as if it's in a bracket, and then you say 3x is equal to 0, or 6x minus 8 is equal to 0. And then you solve for x, you divide by 3, divide by 3. So this answer always gives you a 0, and over here 6x is equal to 8. Divided by 6 on both sides, thus x is equal to 4 over 3 simplified. Okay, so I just want to quickly show you here, if you've got just a number outside of a bracket, so a 5 and a 6x minus 8, then you don't have to stress about making the 5 equal to 0, because that doesn't make sense. So what in actual fact you're doing is you divide away with 5, which will, let me just bring that back. So that will cancel out that 5 and a 5, and 0 divided by 5 still gives you 0. So can you see, if you've got a number outside there, you can basically just drop it away. But when there's an x involved, you need to equal that to 0, and one of your answer will always be x is equal to 0. Okay, then solving equations using factorization. Now, this is your big step. This is where your factorization comes into debut again. And we've got 3 steps that I've written down on how to follow to complete these sums. So step 1 is equal your expression to 0. Step 2 is to factorize using your 3 types of factorization: your highest common factor, your difference of 2 perfect squares, and your trinomial. And lastly, step 3 is apply the zero product principle to solve. So this is what we explained here on top. This is your zero product principle, okay, where you make each bracket equal to 0. Okay, so if you've got A, again, it is already equal to 0. So step 1, you don't have to stress about. Step 2, what type of factorization is this? Can you see that it's a difference of two perfect squares, which equal to 0? So the x splits, and then there's always a plus and a minus in the middle. The square root of 25 is 5. Thus, x is either negative 5. Let me just take it a little bit slower because it's your first time around. So then you're going to equal each bracket equal to 0. And you're in actual fact going to get two answers for x. So either x is 0 minus 5 gives you negative 5, or x is equal to adding 5 on both sides. 0 plus 5 is 5. Alright, so here, step 1, you have to equal your equation to 0. So it's going to be minus 8x is equal to 0. Step 2, factorize. Okay, it's not a difference of two perfect squares. It's not a trinomial, so it must be an HCF. So I'm going to take out, because it starts with a negative, I'm going to take out a negative, a 2, and an x. Then what is left? You've got an x left minus 4 is equal to 0. Let me just see if I distribute it back if I get the previous step. So it's negative 2x squared. Sorry, and this one should be a plus. That's where I made my mistake. So negative 2x squared minus 8. So if I take out a negative 2x, then what is left? X plus 4, negative 2x squared minus 8x is equal to 0. Okay, next step. Both sides equal to 0. Or x plus 4 is equal to 0. So either x is negative 4, or over here, if you get this, remember you're going to divide with negative 2 on both sides. So your answer is always x is 0, or x is then here on this side, negative 4. Okay, step 1, equal to 0. Alright, so with this one, we have to equal to 0. So x squared minus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0. And that is a lovely trinomial. 2 brackets is equal to 0. The x splits, the signs are different. The first one's a minus, and 4 times 2 gives you 8, and minus 4 plus 2 does give you that negative 2. And then you're going to make each bracket equal to 0. You'll see later on that you can skip this step, because you can just see that you just do the inverse of x is negative 4, so x is 4. Okay, so x is either 4 or x is negative 2. All right. So over here, you would like to say, okay, but x is 6 and x plus 5 is 6. You cannot do that. Step 1 is equal everything to 0. So please don't think that you can do the same if there's a number on the other side. So what we need to do is we need to simplify. X times x is x squared plus 5x is equal to 6. Bring that positive 6 over, and then you get x squared plus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0, and that is a lovely trinomial. The x splits, they are different. The first one's a plus and a minus, and your factors are going to be 3 and 2, which is not right, no. Okay, let's try the other one. 6 and 1. Plus 6 minus 1 does give you that positive 5. So just always remember with the 6 and the 5, there's always those two factors. 3 and 2 can work, and 6 and 1. So just make double sure that you use the right ones. And then we can say x is either negative 6 or x is 1. So can you see that I skip that step? We're saying x plus 6 is 0 or x minus 1 is 0. You can just see that x is going to be the inverse of that positive 6 and the negative 1. All right, same with number E. We're going to simplify, take away your brackets. X times x is x squared plus 3x minus 2x is plus x plus 3x minus 2x gives you a positive x, minus 2 times 3 gives you 6. So I'm going to bring that 14 over, make it a negative 14. And then what are we left with? X squared plus x minus 6 minus another 14 gives you minus 20 is equal to 0. That is a trinomial. So step 2, we factorize. Then the x splits. They are different. The first one's a plus and then a minus. And what about 5 times 4? 5 times 4 gives you 20, and plus 5 minus 4 gives you a positive 1. So x is either negative 5 or x is 4. All right, over here, starting to become a little bit harder. We only have 2 sums left. So over here, I'm going to take out a negative 2. Can you see that I have to take out a negative because step 1 is equal to 0. It's already 0. Step 2, factorize where possible. So on this side, I can first take out an HCF of a 2, but also a negative because we never start off with a negative. So negative 2, what is left? X squared minus 7x plus 12 is equal to 0. So now remember that negative 2 actually is just going to fall away, because if you divide with negative 2 on each side, you will still be left with your trinomial equal to 0. So remember, if there's just a number, you can just let it fall away. Because what did I actually do? I divided with negative 2 on this side, and 0 divided by anything stays 0. Okay, so let me just complete the trinomial over here. So the x splits, the signs are the same, they're both negative. And let's quickly think. 4 times 3 gives you 12, minus 4 minus 3 does give you negative 7. So thus x is either 4 or x is equal to 3. Last one. First we need to simplify, take away our brackets, but let's quickly have a look. Before we do that, you could have done that way, but let's have a look. Can you see, if you look closely, that you've got 2 brackets that's exactly the same? So we can actually take out an HCF of x minus 4. And what is left? X plus 2 is equal to 0. So I'm sure if you had to simplify it and bring it together, you would have ended up with a trinomial, which you could have factorized into these 2 brackets as well. But if you looked closely, you could have seen that there's 2 brackets that's exactly the same. Take out an HCF of x minus 4. What is left? X plus 2. Thus, x is either 4 or x is equal to negative 2. All right, and those are all the types of equations that you can get for this year. If you are interested to look at what is waiting for grade 10, I've got a grade 10 video up as well. If you need to revisit the equations from the grade 8 year, there's also a video up on that. So you've got all your grades cushioned around the grade 9. So if you need to go up a bit, if you need to go down a bit, you're also welcome to go and revisit those videos. You must have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching. Okay, bye.